Hello, everybody. My name is Mitch Heil, and I am the owner and creator of Horn Dog Maps. So now, I would imagine you're all here because of the Facebook giveaway contest that we were running, and we will get to that. But first, I want to kind of give you a little insight into who I am, what Horn Dogs Maps is, and what we do, and all of that stuff. So, as I said, my name is Mitch Heil, and I love fishing. I'm an avid outdoorsman. I love the outdoors and all of that stuff. So, I just the big thing for me is just fishing. Everyone that knows I love fishing. And if you hear in the background, you can hear our lovely contestant drawer. She will be picking the winner of the contest, not me. Try to make it as fair as possible. Anyway, so on top of fishing, I am also really big into maps, cartography, bathymetry, topography, all of that stuff. So specifically in this case, bathymetry, which is the study of lakes and their depths and all of that stuff. So I can spend, and I have spent many hours just looking at lake maps of lakes all over the place. A lot of them in Minnesota because lakes that I want to check out and all of that stuff, but really anywhere. Anytime I see such as something like Major League Fishing where they're on, Table Rock Lake or something down in Florida or whatever, I like to look at the lake and check it out and see what's going on there. So that kind of morphed into what we're doing now with Horn Dog Maps. So the first time I saw something kind of like this was on the cover of Growler magazine. They had done there was a picture of Lake Superior, and it was done out of some kind of cardboard or cardstock or whatever. And it was cut out and layered up, but it was layered up so that the depth would be opposite of the way water would work. It's more like a mountain. And I saw that, and I'm like, that is really cool. How could I do that? I could do that. I wanted to do something for myself. So I'm like, how could I do that for myself? So I drew up the depths, the contours for Pleasant Lake in Cass County, Minnesota, which is a lake that I had been going to on family vacations for ever since I was from like 4 to 17 years old. I think we went to that lake. So a lot of time spent on that lake, and it kind of held a place in my heart because that's really where I got involved in fishing, because that was the only place I would really go fishing for most of the year, was just that one vacation. So drew up the contours for it, and my wife cut it out on her Cricut, and we layered it up, and it looked good, but it was the same as the Superior one that was on the Growler magazine, where it was layered from the ground level up to the deepest part. So it didn't work out that way. And I'm like, how can I invert it so that it's displaying properly, but also I had to figure in humps and underwater things where it goes down but then it comes back up again. You would have a floating dot or something in the middle, and it can be lost, and I didn't want to manually put everything in and all of that stuff. So I'm like, cardboard or cardstock is probably not a good option, and also the colors, you're kind of limited there. You got blues or different shades of blue, but it'd be like a blue and then an aqua and then a green blue or whatever, and I didn't get the smooth gradient of colors that I wanted, and I didn't have a lot of choice in the colors that I wanted. So I moved on to wood. So I've decided to move from cardboard now to wood. How do I cut wood? So I did a little research, and I'm like, I could use a jigsaw, but then I found out there's a scroll saw, which is kind of like a miniature type bandsaw, but just a really tiny fine blade. And you drill holes in the wood, and you place your template on top of that, and you slowly push the wood around, and you cut the holes out slowly. And it takes a long time, and it's break a lot of blades, get rough edges, but it did work. And this is the very first map that I ever cut out of wood. This one is Lake Independence in Hennepin County. And as you can see, maybe you can or can't, but it's like thick. This is 1/4 inch thick plywood, and it's probably 1.5 inches thick, or 1.1 inches. 1, 2, 3, 4. So yeah, this is 1.5 inches thick, way thicker than anything that I would want to put on the wall at any, and I wanted more detail than this too. So, and I didn't like the colors of this. This was just my first test, and it came out all right, but there's lots of imperfections with it. So then I got some thinner plywood and still using the scroll saw. But this is the first map, and you might have seen it on Instagram and Facebook when I posted it. But this is the very first map that I cut out that was colored and had the name in it. Started adding a compass, and I framed it. And this is Trout Lake in Ontario, a lake that I like to go to. And it's better. I like the color scheme. I liked the color scheme a little bit better. It has like a teal down to a dark blue. And the way I did this one is I had 5 different kinds of acrylic paint, and I do one color, half and half of the next one, then the next color, then half and half, and work my way down. And it worked out good. It worked out all right, but still wasn't there. This took me quite a while to cut out because this is 13 layers, and it's more layers than I do now, but it's pretty heavy too. But it took me a long time to cut out, but I was very happy with it. At this point, I wasn't planning on selling anything or making anything for other people, but people started following me and started commenting on my stuff. I'm like, that's really cool. Could you do it for my lake? Could you do it for this lake? All that stuff. So I'm like, maybe this is something that I could start doing on the side. People want these. So I started looking into it, and like the scroll saw just was not worth my time. If it's going to take me 6 or 7 hours leaning over a bench like this, killing my back, for the price that these things would be worth or whatever, it just wasn't worth my time. So I had to look into other options of what I can do. So then I found out that you can actually cut them with a CO2 laser, which I don't have. But I found a place, there's a community workshop in Minneapolis that has a laser, and I was able to get access to it just like a gym membership, and they have a full wood shop too, so I don't need to buy my own tools. I can just pay them the membership fee and I have access to their full wood shop. So I started cutting things out with laser, and that allowed me to do a lot more detail on that. So this is the first one that I cut, the first one I cut out with a laser. So as you can see, this one is Forest Lake in Washington County, Minnesota, and this one I was able to add in all of the street detail and all of that, and still get the layers all the way down, and get in some islands of stuff. Plus it gave me a cleaner edge around the edges, whereas the other one I had to spray paint around the whole thing to make it black just so it would look good. This one, when it burns it in, it actually cleans up the edge, kind of like a cauterized type thing. And a lot more control over the islands, losing less of them, and able to cut out names better without losing pieces and all of that stuff. So that's where that got me. And then now I have been making maps for people, and I did change up the color scheme a little bit, as you can see where we are now on the final color scheme that I have settled on, where you have kind of a weathered brown gray face layer, and then it goes from a light blue down to a dark blue, and deeper lakes have deeper blue, but just a lot more cohesive color scheme and a little bit better look to everything. So that's where we are. So I think now at this point I have the art files, everything made for upwards of 100 lakes. And that's Minnesota, Wisconsin, North Dakota, Ontario, Florida. I've been doing some for Nebraska, and what's the other? Arkansas. So 7 different states. Well, 6 states, 1 province in Ontario. And also I did this one for my honeymoon. It's just a 2-layer one of part of Alaska, of the Kenai Peninsula in Alaska. So I've been branching up and doing some more things like that too. And I eventually want to move into doing topography. So instead of doing lakes, you're doing mountains and stuff like that. But that's off later in the way. But every day, every time I make a map, I'm always looking at ways to improve on them, whether it's the type of glue I'm using, the type of wood I'm using, the frame I'm using, how I'm cutting the frame. The latest thing I've been working on is actually making them lighter. So the latest thing I've been doing is I've been able to reduce the weight on them by probably 40%, 30 or 40%. And the end goal of that is obviously so they're not 14 pounds for, or 10 pounds for something this size. Because you don't want to be hanging that on your wall and having it fall off and using, drywall anchors and all that stuff if you don't have to. Bigger maps, you still need to use anchors and put them into studs and all of that. But the idea is to get them as light as possible while still maintaining the same quality and sturdiness and everything of them. So that about, oh yeah, I don't know how I didn't get about this part. The name. What does Horn Dog Maps come from? Well, it's always been kind of, not a joke, but so my wife and I have a dog. His name is Sterling, and he's a German wire-haired pointer. And he has a beard just like I do, of course. Why wouldn't he have a beard? And we actually trained him to be a shed dog. So he looks for deer antlers after they have fallen off in the winter. So we kind of trained him on that. We never actually went out and took him shed hunting because it's cold out. And I don't want to go out in the woods when it's cold. I might go ice fishing, but that's because I have a heater. Can't really bring a buddy heater with you in the woods and be portable about it. So that's where the name of the company came from. Just kind of my dog and Horn Dog. I'm like, hey, Horn Dog Maps. That works for me. And it also has kind of that double entendre of Horn Dog. So, why not? But I believe that brings us to the part you've all been wanting. You've been waiting for, the giveaway portion. So I have all of the names, all of the comments, and everything that was on my post. And I'm going to mix these up good. Other people I've seen, they do like random comment pickers and stuff like that. And that's fine, but, why not get a little bit more interactive and get in the best comment picker there could possibly be. So, lovely little comment picker if you want to come in here and if you want to draw one. There we go. Just one. Anyone you want. Anyone. Which one? Just one? Just one. Anyone you want. Keep them waiting. Don't keep them waiting. Just pick one. Pick one. Drop all of them. And, this one, the last one in your hand. So, Doug Sampson. No K Lake would be great. All right, Doug, I will get in contact with you, and I'm going to let you all in on a secret. When you were commenting on your lakes, I was already making the art files ahead of time, so I'm all ready to go. So, Doug, I will get in contact with you, and we will get I'll get in contact, get your details. We're going to get this map out. For everyone else, thank you so much for liking my page and for supporting me. Without all of you, this would be for nothing. This would be, it wouldn't exist. So I just want to thank you so much for making Horn Dog Maps a thing. So as always, just keep liking, sharing posts. Follow us on Instagram. This is going to be on YouTube, but I don't have a YouTube channel yet that has anything else other than this. So I might start doing videos and stuff like that here and there. And yeah, just go to horndogmaps.com and tell your friends and family about us. So we'd greatly appreciate it. So thank you very much. Bye.